Beowulf and the Lion King have many similarities, but not many that just anyone could see. To see these similarities, we are taking a deeper look into both of them. They both show characteristics of Christian symbols, archetypal characters, archetypal plots and themes, archetypal settings, and other archetypal motifs or significance. These are what we will be showing in this video.
Simba is clearly the hero of The Lion King as he goes on a long cyclical journey facing those who try to test him and meeting allies along the way. Simba exemplifies morals valued by his society such as Hakuna Matata or no worries and respect for one another. Simba has a noble origin in that he was born to become king. Simba strives to be strong and brave, and these qualities ultimately result in a happy ending for his community as he overthrows his uncle Scar as king. Beowulf and Simba are very similar in their loyalty to their friends and their community. Although Simba fails to be loyal to his community in the beginning of the movie, he eventually comes back to lead and unite everyone as king. Both Beowulf and Simba exhibit risk-taking qualities, determination, and courage with the understanding of a greater good in mind. According to Synonym.com, Scar represents the villain of the movie through his self-centered and power-hungry character traits. Scar is also only interested in advancing himself in society, disregarding the effect his actions have on others. These traits are seen when Scar kills Mufasa and tricks Simba into leaving town so that he can take over as king. Grendel, the villain in Beowulf, is similar to Scar in his selfish desires. Although he does not strive to take over Hrothgar and his men, his own jealousy of the men drives him to evil. He attacks Hrothgar's mead hall, killing the men's spirit and many warriors. Rafiki stands as the mentor for Simba in The Lion King. He offers Simba helpful advice that guides him on his journey back home, giving Simba the courage to overthrow his uncle and lead as king. His wise words about learning from the past help Simba realize that he needs to face his fears for the benefit of his community. Hrothgar represents the mentor for Beowulf in the epic. His support towards Beowulf as he endures several life-risking battles helps Beowulf mature and overcome his enemies. Both Rafiki and Hrothgar symbolize motivators and a push into adulthood for their young, naive heroes. Nala, who is Simba's best friend in The Lion King, represents the Herald. She helps Simba to realize how necessary it is for him to return home and take over as king because Scar is leaving his people starving and hopeless. Nala is similar to Hrothgar and Beowulf in that they both bring the call to adventure. In Beowulf, Hrothgar's mead hall under attack signaled Beowulf to help. Timon and Pumbaa seem to be Simba's closest friends and allies throughout the movie. They help Simba and advise him throughout his journey. The two characters save Simba from a depressed state and return him to a confident lion, eventually helping him defeat his uncle Scar. Wiglaf, Beowulf's closest and most loyal ally, is very similar to Timon and Pumbaa. He represents Beowulf's as well as the society's strong belief in comitatus, or a warrior thane loyalty. He demonstrates this when he is the only warrior to help Beowulf defeat the dragon in his battle. The allies in both Beowulf and The Lion King support their heroes and hope for their success.
Although Beowulf and The Lion King may seem to be completely different stories at a glance, they have a lot in common. The audience can see this when analyzing and comparing the two stories. The elephant graveyard in The Lion King is a very dark and sketchy area. This setting in the movie is similar to a cave. Caves are thought to be associated with death, containment, mystery, and corruption. The elephant graveyard is similar to Grendel's mother's lair. They are both frightening to the audience. Both the elephant graveyard and Grendel's mother's lair can be considered a wasteland. There is no growth or prosperity in either of these places. They are both places of loneliness where no one would willingly go unless they were a true hero. This is where Beowulf and Simba both come into play. Beowulf knows to achieve his goal, he must conquer Grendel's mother in her cave. Simba is different, though. He accidentally stumbles into the graveyard. This event marks the beginning of his adventure to greatness. In The Lion King, when Pride Rock is green, healthy, and full of happiness, it is similar to an archetypal garden. Gardens are the opposite of a wasteland. They can exhibit harmony with nature, peace, and a new life. After all, this is the place where the Circle of Life song is sung. Simba and his father Mufasa are both proud of Pride Rock and strive to keep it a prosperous place. Pride Rock is similar to Beowulf's honorary tower. Although it seems ironic to compare a garden to a place associated with death, they are both very similar. Beowulf wanted his tower to be a place where everyone would look at it and remember his glory. Pride Rock is comparable because Simba, Mufasa, and all the other animals look at it as a sort of treasure to be proud of. Beowulf fought to have a right to such a glory-stricken memorial tower, as Simba fought to take back Pride Rock from Scar. In The Lion King, the desert is symbolic of a crossroad or an in-between place. The first time Simba is in the desert, he has ran away from the hyenas. He is eventually found by Timon and Pumbaa and goes off on a journey with them. The second time Simba crosses through the desert, he is on another journey to reclaim his kinship from Scar. In The Lion King, Simba retreats to a jungle where he grows up, reinvents himself, and discovers his purpose in life. An archetypal jungle or forest can represent the unknown, adventure, evil, or even a place to reconnect with nature. During Beowulf's first time through the forest, he is on an adventure to go kill Grendel's mother. On his way back to Heorot, Beowulf confronts evil in the forest when he finds Grendel's body and chops off his head. In The Lion King, things happen differently. Simba doesn't necessarily confront evil in the forest, but he does go on an adventure with Timon and Pumbaa. He also sees a vision of his father, who encourages him to go back to Pride Rock and reclaim his rightful spot as king. In The Lion King, Rafiki guides Simba along the right path. He comes down from a tree at one point and gives Simba his advice, which is symbolic. Archetypal trees can represent wisdom, life, and guidance. There are no archetypal trees in Beowulf. Crossing over water can archetypally represent adventure, change, and new beginnings. Beowulf crosses over the sea and embarks on a conquest to kill Grendel and his mother, then crosses the sea again and eventually kills a dragon. This happens very differently in The Lion King. When Simba goes to the jungle with Timon and Pumbaa, we see him cross a log over water with them. As he is crossing, we see him change from a young cub to a big grown-up lion. Although this is subtle, it is important to the archetypal setting. Overall, Beowulf and The Lion King have many archetypal settings in common. Archetypal settings are timeless and symbolic. No matter what the story is, a certain setting will hold the same symbolic meaning as it does in another story.
Simba, the hero in the movie The Lion King, and Beowulf, the hero in the epic poem Beowulf, go on two distinct journeys that have strong differences but also share important similarities. Additionally, the themes conveyed in both works are consistent with the morals that are valued in all cultures in all periods of time. Simba receives an idea of what challenges he may face in the future when he is only a cub. From his father, Simba learns that one day he will be king of the Pride Lands, and that his father, Mufasa, will not always be there to help him. Beowulf discovers his call to adventure in a different way. He learns about Hrothgar's troubles from travelers and decides that he must go to help the Danes. The adventure begins when Scar, Simba's evil uncle, tells Simba to wait on a rock in the middle of a canyon for Mufasa. Scar is really planning to kill Simba and Mufasa, and Simba must survive a stampede. Beowulf's first major challenge is very different. He fights and defeats Grendel in Hrothgar's famous mead hall, Heorot. After Simba escapes the stampede, he learns that Mufasa died trying to save him. Simba is convinced by Scar that his father's death is his fault. Simba is then told that he must run away and never return. Simba is not able to realize that Scar is the enemy and the true cause of Mufasa's death. Oppositely, Beowulf immediately realizes that Unferth is an enemy when he challenges Beowulf during the feast in Heorot. Simba returns home to a terrible situation in the Pride Lands. All of the vegetation is gone, the animals are all starving, and the hyenas live as part of the new community. The animals learn that Simba is still alive. On his corresponding piece of the hero's journey, Beowulf enters Grendel's mother's underwater home and defeats her with the giant sword hanging on the wall. Even though Simba did not want to kill his uncle, he is forced to fight Scar in a battle for the Pride Lands. Simba comes close to death numerous times, but is eventually able to push Scar off the cliff where they are fighting. The hyenas then kill Scar. Beowulf's final battle ends very differently. Although he is able to kill the dragon with the help of Wiglaf, he is unable to escape death. After defeating Scar, Simba receives the reward of officially becoming king of the Pride Lands. Additionally, he is able to save the land, vegetation, and all of the animals. Simba marries Nala, and they have a son, Kopa. Before he dies, Beowulf is able to see the treasure he won in battle by defeating the dragon. Wiglaf brings the treasure to him, and then Beowulf dies after living a long and fulfilling life. The necessity of bravery in leaders is a central theme in Beowulf and the Lion King. This illustrates the fact that bravery is a value appreciated by all cultures in all times. Simba does not show bravery throughout his entire journey, but after he remembers his importance as king, he is able to regain this quality and reach his full potential. Beowulf is able to show bravery in every challenge he faces as a warrior and king. According to the article, The Literary Character Between Philosophy and Life, themes often deal with issues of the fulfillment type. Good overcoming evil is a common addition to this theme. Simba is able to overcome his evil uncle Scar to fulfill his goals of becoming king and saving the Pride Lands. Similarly, Beowulf defeats Grendel, Grendel's mother, and the treasure-stealing dragon to fulfill his dream of being eternally remembered by his people.
In both Beowulf and The Lion King, there are heavy themes of good versus evil. In The Lion King, Simba represents good and Scar represents evil. At the end of the movie, the two characters fight and good conquers evil. The same thing happens in Beowulf when Beowulf fights the three monsters. Good ends up triumphing over evil and Beowulf defeats Grendel, Grendel's mother, and the dragon. The use of colors is important in both works for setting the tone and mood. Colors used in The Lion King include red, orange, and yellow, all bright colors. This could signify themes of hope and new beginnings, as sunrises are often seen in the film. In Beowulf, the colors used include blue, gray, and black, which set the story off as serious in both tone and mood. The contrast between light and darkness is important in both The Lion King and Beowulf. In The Lion King, Pride Rock is an area of light, and the Elephant Graveyard is an area of darkness. In Beowulf, Heorot is the area of light, and the lair of Grendel's mother is the area of darkness. Of course, the hero is associated with light, and the villain is associated with darkness. In both Beowulf and The Lion King, monsters that the hero needs to overcome play an important part in the story. In The Lion King, the hyenas are the monsters, and in Beowulf, the monsters are Grendel, Grendel's mother, and the dragon. Water is a symbol of purification and rebirth in both Beowulf and The Lion King. Beowulf's burial tower was located next to the sea, which could be seen as a symbolic cleansing of his soul. The scene in The Lion King where Simba is seen growing up is set to the backdrop of a huge waterfall, signifying his maturation and transformation into an adult. Beowulf and The Lion King are very similar in their themes and motifs, which is what makes them archetypal.
Beowulf and The Lion King have many Christian symbols, allusions, and thematic motifs. During The Lion King, Scar kills his brother, Mufasa, because he is jealous of him. This is similar to the biblical story of Cain and Abel. According to the Bible, Cain kills his brother Abel. We also see this same type of story in Beowulf when we hear that Unferth has killed his brother. Scar is representative of the devil in The Lion King. Mufasa is similar to God, and Simba is similar to Jesus because he is Mufasa's son. In Beowulf, Grendel is like the devil, Hrothgar is like God, and Beowulf is like Jesus. This is found in pretty much every epic story. Simba retreats to the desert during The Lion King, just as Jesus did. This also is relevant because Simba could be comparable to Jesus. The Pride Lands can symbolize heaven because it is lush, bright, and happy. Also, Mufasa and Simba reign this area. The Elephant Graveyard can symbolize hell because it is dark, scary, and depressing. Scar rules this land. In Beowulf, the lair of Grendel's mother can be compared to hell. Heorot and Geatland are similar to heaven. Timon and Pumbaa are similar to apostles. They follow Simba around and help him achieve his goals. They also do their best to protect him. Beowulf's 13 warriors are like his apostles. They do what Beowulf needs them to do. Although Jesus had 12 apostles, Timon and Pumbaa and the 13 warriors play similar roles to them. Pride Rock can allude to a heavenly throne. Up on Pride Rock, Mufasa and Simba oversee everything that goes on in the Pride Lands. Their people also look up to them on Pride Rock. In Beowulf, Hrothgar's throne can be described as heavenly because it is said to be protected by the grace of God. Mufasa talks to Simba in a sort of ghost forms and guides him to make a life-changing choice. This is a huge Christian motif. God appears to his son Jesus and guides him to be brave and die for other sins. Mufasa and God are both father figures and guide their sons, even when they aren't humanly there.
As we've shown before, The Lion King and Beowulf show characteristics of Christian symbols, allusions, and thematic motifs, archetypal characters, archetypal plots and themes, archetypal settings and their symbolic importance, and other archetypal motifs of significance. Also, as we've shown, The Lion King and Beowulf both have heroes, Simba being the hero in The Lion King and Beowulf being the hero in Beowulf. Both of these heroes go through the journey. The Elephant Graveyard in The Lion King is a place that could be comparable to a cave in Beowulf. This shows how lightness and darkness are important in both of these. These are just a few ways that these two are similar, and there are many more that we have shown.